Good morning. It's time for me to make good on my promise to deliver a second armored core build video. And I struggled a little bit to decide what I wanted to share and what I don't want to share. And I think I finally stumbled across something that I like playing enough that I want to share it with you. This is a lightweight biped build that uses the laser pistols, the VP66LH, as its primary damage output, and features some plasma missiles to be a toxic. Aside from the weapons, we are featuring the VP44D because it is quite simply one of the best heads in the game. You can only really do better with the mine beta for stability, and I'm not worried about 10 stability. For the core, we're running the ephemera. I have a second version of this build that uses a different core. We'll get to that later. For now, we're using this one because it has all of the generator output adjustment, and we need that. Why do we need that? Well, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit and tell you a little secret. The VP20B generator is a bit insane. We get 150 energy firearm specialization. What does that do, donk? Well, I have no way to back this up, but I have been told by my Twitch chat that it is a 1.25 damage multiplier and a 1.5 times charge speed multiplier for energy weapons. Again, I am basing this off of Twitch chat. However, I can show you the footage and you can see for yourself. This generator, however, has terrible output, which is usually not good for energy weapons. Hence, the ephemera. For the arms, we're rocking the Melander C3. In recoil testing, this is able to handle firing both at once with absolutely no issues, no accuracy loss at all at full rate of fire, which is what we're looking for. Firearm specialization is also a pretty good stat to have as it helps our arms aim better, and overall the cost to equip these arms is quite low. They are rather light and they don't use much energy, making them easy to fit into the build. My leg choice is the Vermisa, primarily because they have more load capacity than the Noctrier legs. They have another benefit of a rather respectable jump distance. Jump distance is added to your quick boost distance when on the ground. If you are quick boosting from the ground, the AC jumps. Not up, but jumps. And that distance is added to your dodge, making us more mobile on the ground. For boosters, I've decided that the Alula feel the best to me. I know boosters are somewhat playstyle dependent, so if you would rather be flying, you would probably use the Gridwalker. If you are a player who uses assault boost tech, the Burzel is obviously the best choice. However, all of the melee boosters are right out for this build, so if you want to tinker around, just avoid those. The FCS is a pretty easy choice. I went with a more close range assisted. However, I've also used it with the WLT01. This also feels very good. In fact, scratch everything I said about the Balaam FCS. This is probably the one you want. Ooh, but that's not very good. So instead, that's much nicer. We want to have a good energy supply efficiency because our energy weapon generator is actually quite bad at regenning energy. It has a low post energy supply, which means we're not going to get much back if we fully drain it, and the recharge speed is, well, not that impressive. If we are going to wait 1.36 seconds for our energy to come back, we want that bar to fill up pretty much immediately, because we're going to need to maneuver. So the lightweight build, it doesn't like getting hit that much. However, I've managed to pack on 1621 attitude stability, nearly enough to withstand a double Zimmerman shot if all pellets connect. So if a few pellets miss, you might not get one-shot Zimmerman. Results may vary. For the expansion, the best pick in my opinion is the Pulse Armor. Pulse Armor provides protection. That's good stuff. But the real value is using the Pulse Armor when your stability is pushed too high. With a lightweight build, if you get staggered, in all likelihood, you are dead. If you're not dead, it's still gonna hurt a lot, so we'd like to avoid that. We have enough movement speed to be able to pick our distance from our opponent, and that means that we're less likely to get assault armored in response to our pulse armor. If you only pop this when you get staggered, they might just jump right on top of you and end the match. Let's talk about the weapons now. I kind of brushed over them because I wanted to show you all the parts so that maybe you could tinker around with this while you listen along. The laser handgun feels good. That's why I use it. Simple enough. With a basic attack power of 175, 95 impact, and 39 accumulative impact, I feel this weapon gets overlooked. These numbers are not high, you might be thinking. But that's fine. Also, ignore the charge section. We will literally never use this. First of all, their direct hit adjustment is kind of mid. Recoil? Acceptable. We can work with this. However, their ideal and effective ranges are a bit long for a pistol, and we are using that to our advantage. As a lightweight build being able to pick our distance, we can use this range to keep dangerous builds at arm's reach. But then we get to the rapid fire. This is what it's all about. These things dish out 2.5 shots per second. 2.5 times 175 is a number that I will put on screen when I edit this later. That's a good DPS value. When you take into account that this damage is going to be multiplied by 1.25, you'll get another number that I will edit in later. Overall, great damage output, low weight, and low energy load, at least for an energy weapon. If we look at the plasma, oh boy. Yeah, that is a bit harder to equip, isn't it? If we look at the laser rifle, another popular pick, ooh, that's a bit heavier. The laser pistol allows us to play a very fast playstyle, which I think fits well with this kind of laser chip damage. About now, I think I'd like to tell you how to play this build so that you don't just have a bad time. Especially if you're newer to the game, I want to give you some frameworks to build off of, and what's a build without the way to play it. My main thoughts when playing this build are fairly simple. Stay the hell away from my enemy, and shoot them a lot. Very simple. I think this build is perfect for any new player to pick up because the playstyle is simple and addicting. So while you're plinking away at the enemy with laser pistols, they may try to run away from you. If they do, shoot plasma missiles. There may be cases where the enemy is coming at you and you are trying to hold distance. In those situations, you should be firing plasma missiles. If I get one message across to you throughout this entire tutorial section, it's that you need to be firing the plasma missiles on cooldown. They don't do a crazy amount of damage. In fact, even if multiple of the missiles hit the same location by some fluke, it's not going to do more damage. But their value is that they are incredibly hard to avoid, and they have a fast reload. So by firing these the entire match, you are chipping away at the enemy's health piece by piece. And the immediate impact might just be enough to make the laser pistols stagger your target. After all, the laser pistols aren't crazy at staggering people. However, in conjunction with the immediate impact of the plasma missiles, you can put someone from around 60% into the danger zone or full red depending on their stability. We don't get a crazy damage multiplier on a stagger target. It's simple. We have a 1.4 multiplier. So it's not a game changer if we don't stagger our enemy. We can just shoot them. The laser pistols have more than enough damage to chew away someone's health without staggering them a single time. But we like staggering. What if you want to stagger, but you feel this build it doesn't have enough stagger, donk? I hear you. I understand you. That's okay, because inherent in any build is a little tool we call the kick. Kicking with bipeds is suboptimal. That's okay though, because suboptimal just needs to work. And that sudden jump of stability can help a lot in making this otherwise stability light loadout push someone over the edge. As far as movement goes, I want to make a quick point here on how to boost better. I'm not going to do a full guide on how to pilot your AC like a champ, but one thing you need to be taking full advantage of, especially with lightweights, but I'd say this applies to the heavier ACs too. Quick boost in the opposite direction from the one you are currently traveling, or at least perpendicular to it. When you quick boost in line with your direction of movement, you get a much more marginal change in velocity, which is going to avoid far less damage and might not even get you out of the splash zone of something like an earshot. If you dodge the opposite direction, notice how you still accelerate up to roughly the same quick boost speed. What's up with that? Well, as it turns out, quick boost will just shunt you up to the speed they say they will. So when you're going right 350 units of speed and you have a quick boost of 350 units of speed, you're not going anywhere if you quick boost in line. However, if you quick boost the opposite direction, the velocity differential is 650 or something. I don't know what numbers I said. It's double, baby. So now that we've covered that little tidbit of information, I want you to use that to get around your enemies and get away from them. When you're boosting it parallel to someone and you quickly change directions to the opposite direction, that makes space. If you dodge backwards, that also makes space. So use that knowledge to keep your Zimmerman wielding melee opponents out of reach. Let's talk about missile builds quick because, well, you're gonna see them. I would say missile builds can counter this build if you are not focusing on the evasion. You don't have that much stability and you don't have that much AP. So if you eat too many missiles while chasing them down, you are going to be in pain. Probably lose the match. The generator itself has okay capacity, but frankly, you're not going to be chasing down anyone with a coral generator that easily. You're going to need to land kicks in a fight like that, and I'll tell you right now, it's not a great matchup. Other builds that I've found give this problems are stun gun builds because they play in a somewhat similar range. They're closer range, and if you're out of their effective range, they won't inflict stun on you. However, the builds are generally fast enough to keep up. If they aren't, fly, get away, whatever you can do, and make it a chip fight. If they have a shield, God help you. We don't have enough damage or impact per round to really push a shield user over the edge before we die. It is what it is. If you're thinking to yourself, Donk, I want more firepower. I understand where you're coming from. So let's talk about build variations quick while this B-roll footage goes. First of all, a easy upgrade to the build if you don't mind being a bit slower and want a bigger weapon is to swap one of the laser pistols out for the 66 LRA. 66 LRA has a per shot damage of 466 and 194 immediate impact. It's for that immediate impact I think you get the most value from switching to the laser rifle, and in my gameplay sessions I felt that it was a bit better at knocking people over the edge, but was a little harder to get consistent damage with compared to the laser pistol. It does also have a bit better range, but frankly, if you're shooting at a target at 382, you are missing that target. Velocities in this game really do not lend themselves to fighting outside of, I would say, around 250, whatever they are. The real changes you can make to this build come in when you want to do a different generator. Let's say you don't like waiting 1.26 seconds for your energy to come back. Well, there's options. One of them is to swap over to the albacore, which has great booster efficiency, and grab yourself one of these bad boys. Now our energy is coming back in 0.81 seconds as long as we don't fully delete it, and we still have crazy good energy capacity. Now, a problem you might run into is that's not a lot of leftover energy. So while you could run the Alba, I sometimes stick with the ephemera anyway, as well as a head swap for weight. There are some good options here, just keep in mind you're going to eat a stability difference. But this is kind of how you can modify my build to play a bit differently. This is going to do less damage, but it's going to be significantly more energy efficient and be able to keep itself active with less delays. Sometimes that 1.32 feels too long. You're forced to quick boost, you're forced to fly a little bit, and suddenly you're waiting even longer. Hope this build guide has been informative for you. I've been loving playing lightweights lately, and I feel like plasma missiles are quickly becoming one of my favorite backslot weapons. There are so many games where an enemy with terminal armor is possibly a big threat to me, but I can just fire a vertical plasma and run away, and trust that that plasma missile will deal at least 1 damage. That's all for today's video. Enjoy the B-roll as I close it out here, and make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoy the Armored Core content to make it easier for yourself to find more of it when I finally upload. If you'd like a more timely schedule and conversing about the video game, stop over at my Twitch channel where I stream Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, unless I get done with work early and want to play the video game. Thanks for watching as always, and I hope to do even better on the next one, so stay tuned. Goodbye.